afternoon to all students. Today we are going to start a new topic, Latin American Revolution. Okay. The previous classes we discussed about the revolution that influenced the world. First one is the American War of Independence, and the second one is the French Revolution. French Revolution, very vast topic. Okay. Then next revolution that influenced the world is the Latin American Revolution. Okay. Do you know where is the Latin America? Which country is known as Latin America? Then Latin America consists of South and Middle America and West Indies island. Where is the Latin America? Look at the map of Latin America. The Latin America consists of South and Middle America. Look at the map. Latin America consists of South America, Middle America, and West Indies island. The Cuba, Haiti, then the Middle America after the below the North America and northern side of the Mexico. Then the fully South America. That region is known as the Latin America. Understood? Where is the location of the Latin America? South America, then the Middle America and West Indies island together known as the Latin America. That is the location of the Latin America. Okay. Then why did these region are known as the Latin America? Really, then you understand that South America and then the middle of the North America and group of West Indies island are known as the Latin America. Why did these places is known as the Latin America? There is one reason is that 16th and 17th century, then the Europeans reached the South America and established the colonies in this region. Which region? South America and West Indies Islands and Middle America. North America, southern part. Then the Spain and Portugal established the colonies in that region. And they introduced their language in Latin America, whose language is Spain and Portugal. Their language introduced and implemented in the Latin America, South America. That language was very close to the Latin, then the Latin language. Their language, whose language is Spain and Portugal. Their language was very close to the Latin language, Latin family. That is why this Spanish language is known as the Latin group. That is why the South America is known as the Latin America. The Latin language, Spain, Portugal, South America, അവരത് പറയാനായിട്ട് തുടങ്ങി. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് എന്തെന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നത് South America Latin America എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നത്. Understood? Okay. Like the other revolution, the Spain and Portugal established the colonies in Latin America. Okay, then in the textbook, there isn't one poem had given there. It was written by Pablo Neruda. There isn't one poem. It was written by Pablo Neruda. And that poem is describing about the one important colony, then the center of the Latin America. The place name is the Machu Picchu. It is located in the Peru. Peru is the the state in the Latin America. Then in that poem, it is that poet is describing about the impact of the colonial rule in Latin America. One poem, it was written by Pablo Neruda. In that poet is describing about the impact of the colonial rule of the Latin America. Understood? Really, the Machu Picchu, that place is a very wealthy place, and in that place cultivated maize, and the people are engaged in the sheep rearing, and there is an acquired wealth through trade in every field. That place was a very wealthy place, and then the gold mines and silver mines, everything are located in the South America, especially in these places. So the poet is describing about the impact of the colonial rule of the Latin America. then the first established the colonies in the Latin America, Spain and Portugal. Okay. Then Spain and Portugal established the colonies in Latin America. That colonial exploitation we can easily understand from this poem written by the Pablo Neruda. Okay, then all of you look at the screen. How was what was the impact of the colonial rule of Latin America? Then the Spanish and the Portuguese propagated. How did the Spain and Portugal exploited the Latin America? The Spanish and the Portuguese propagated their language, religion, and customs. They built the houses and churches in Spanish style. Several schools were established for imparting Spanish system of education. The Spanish farming methods and crops were introduced. Okay, listen. The Spanish and the Portuguese propagated their language. Listen, students, listen to me. The Spain and Portugal established the colonies in Latin America, and after establishing the colonies in Latin America, they introduced their language, isn't it? And what was their language? Their language is related to Latin family. They introduced their language. They implemented their religion. They introduced their culture. Whose culture? European culture. They built the houses, their own architectural style, isn't it? And their own model. And then they built the churches on Spain and Portuguese style. Everything, the Spain and Portugal, everything is implemented and introduced in Latin America like the European model. First one is their language. They implemented their language in Latin America. They implemented their religion in Latin America. They implemented their culture and they built the houses like the European style, and they built the churches on Spanish style, and they implemented they constructed the houses and imparting their education system. Spain and Portugal, they imparting their knowledge, isn't it? Then the Europeans introduced their farming methods and they introduced their crops. Everything is introduced like the European countries in Latin America. Latin America, South America is another continent, but the Europeans established the colonies in Latin America and they introduced different things in Latin America according to their own style. Okay. Then the new disease also spread from Europe to Latin America. The recent one, another important thing is that the new disease spread from Europe to Latin America, and racial discrimination are seen in the every field of the people towards the people of colonies. Racial discrimination towards the people of colonies in every field. Europeans implemented the racial discrimination, isn't it? So that was the style of exploiting, way of exploiting the Latin America. Spain and Portugal in every field, they implemented and introduced their style. Their way of exploitation is like that. So at that time, then again look at the screen. Then the new diseases spread from Europe to Latin America, and racial discrimination towards the people of colonies. Okay. Yes, again look at if you have the textbook, look at the textbook. Otherwise, look at the screen. The Spanish and the Portuguese propagated their religion, language, and customs. They built the houses and the churches in Spanish style. Several schools were established for imparting Spanish system of education. They constructed the schools and established the schools, and through this school they imparting the Spanish system of education. The Spanish farming methods and crops were introduced. New disease spread from Europeans to the Latin America. Racial discrimination was enforced towards the natives in all walks of life. They looted the resources and wealth of Latin American people, enslaved the natives to work. The revolutionary led by, okay, they looted the resources and wealth of the Latin American people. Okay, listen here. They looted the wealth of the then the Latin Americans. Latin Americans. That means that Latin America, South America, there is a rich wealth of the silver and gold mines. ഒരുപാട് സ്വർണ്ണ ഖനികളുള്ള ഒരു സ്ഥലമാണ് in the Latin America. അപ്പോൾ അതായിരുന്നു the aim of the Europeans was for looting the resources from the Latin America, especially the gold and silver. Now then they enforced then the other laws to the Latin America. Spain and Portugal enforced and implemented some other conditions also in Latin America. Then one is that then the never allowed of the colonies to engage in trade with the countries other than Spain. Then the things produced in Spain were not permitted to be produced in the colonies. അതായത് ഇതെല്ലാം ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയുടെ എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ ആണ്. സ്പെയിനിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടാക്കണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതൊന്നും എവിടെ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല, ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിൽ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് പാടില്ല. There is a no freedom to trade relation with other countries. Then the സ്പെയിൻ അല്ലാതെ മറ്റുള്ള രാജ്യങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് പിന്നെ ട്രേഡ് റിലേഷൻ പാടില്ല. ഇനി what the crops are produced in the Spain, that produce same crops never produced in the Latin American colonies. അപ്പോൾ അത്രമാത്രം maximum the Spain and Portugal maximum exploiting the Latin America. Understood? Once again I am repeating the same topic, Latin America. Then Latin American Revolution. This revolution also influenced the other revolution, isn't it? Like the American Revolution, French Revolution, Latin American Revolution is also influenced the other revolution. I already told that where is the location of the Latin America. Then who established the colonies in Latin America? Spain and Portugal. Their language was very close to the Latin family, Latin language. That is why the Spain and Portugal introduced the Latin language in the South America. That is why South America is known as the Latin America. Understood? Okay. Then what was the impact of the colonial rule? Then how did Spain and Portugal exploited the Latin America, and everything we discussed. Okay. Then at that time, at the other revolution, we already studied the then the thinkers or the some ideologies had arise and encouraged the people to start the revolution against the colonial rule, and like the French Revolution and American Revolution and Latin America, South America, there is an leaders had come forward for start the revolution against the European countries. The important leaders was that Simon Bolivar, then the Jose de San Martin and Francisco Miranda. Isn't it? Simon Bolivar, Jose de San Martin and Francisco Miranda. These then the leaders are very important. These leaders encourage the people of Latin America to fight against the European domination. These leaders then they encourage the people of Latin America to fight against the colonial rule of the European countries. Okay, one by one, then one by one they liberated the Latin American colonies were liberated under the leadership of Simon Bolivar, very important leader. The liberator of Latin America was the Simon Bolivar. Then Jose de San Martin and Francisco Miranda. Jose Martin and Francisco Miranda. These are the very important leaders. These leaders liberated Latin America one by one, isn't it? Then 1825, the Latin American colonies became free. 1825, the Latin American colonies, almost all the Latin American colonies become became free. Isn't it? 1825, almost all Latin American colonies became free. The important leaders of liberation of this Latin America was that one is the very important Simon Bolivar, Jose de San Martin, and Francisco Miranda. These are the very important leaders. These leaders liberated Latin American colonies one by one. And Simon Bolivar took the very important leadership and had taken the initiative for liberating the South America. That is why then the Simon Bolivar is known as the George Washington of America. And Simon Bolivar is called the liberator of South America, Latin America. That is why he is known as the George Washington of South America, isn't it? Then the George Washington, North America, George Washington take the very important role for liberating the North America, liberating the colonies of the North America like that. Simon Bolivar had taken the very important role for liberating the Latin America. So he was known as the George Washington of South America. Understand? Simon Bolivar, very important leader of liberating the South America. Okay. Then another important leader was that Jose de San Martin. Then he also take the leadership and he liberated the Argentina, Chile, etc. And he is known as the protector in the Latin American countries. Jose de San Martin is known as the protector in the Latin American countries. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് അങ്ങനെയാണ് അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത്, Jose de San Martin. And Francisco Miranda, then another very important leader of liberating the South America was the Simon Bolivar. He is known as the George Washington of South America. Okay, so listen, from this topic we can understand that what is the name of this lesson? The revolution that influenced in the world. So Latin American revolution also influenced the other revolution. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ലെസണിൽ നമ്മൾ 3 റവല്യൂഷൻ നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞു. അമേരിക്ക, ഫ്രാൻസ് ആൻഡ് ഫ്രഞ്ച് റവല്യൂഷൻ ആൻഡ് ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്ക. അപ്പൊ ഈ റവല്യൂഷനുകൾ എല്ലാം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ളത് 20th century. Everything is then all these revolutions. What was the aim of all this revolution? All this revolution was to fight against the colonial rule. All these revolutions are to fight against the colonial rule. Okay. Then we discuss about where is the Latin America and who was the important leaders of liberating the Latin America. Don't forget, always asking the match the following questions: Simon Bolivar, Jose de San Martin, and Francisco Miranda. These names are the very important. Then another question is that what was the impact of the colonial rule in Latin America? Then another question is that why did how did Spain and Portugal exploit the Latin America? How did the Spain and Portugal exploit the Latin America? Then they introduced their language. Spain and Portugal introduced their language. They introduced their system of education. They introduced their culture. They built the houses like the Spanish model, and they built the churches on Spanish model. And they then those schools, they construct those schools and imparting the Spanish education. And they introduced the farming methods, and they introduced the crops. And then another last year, a new disease spread from Europe to Latin America. അസുഖങ്ങൾ വരെ എവിടെ നിന്ന് വന്നു? യൂറോപ്പിൽ നിന്ന് ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്ക. അത്രയും, അതായത് അസുഖങ്ങൾ വരെ കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ അത്രമാത്രം ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കനെ ചൂഷണം ചെയ്ത 2 രാജ്യങ്ങളായിരുന്നു ഏത്? സ്പെയിൻ ആൻഡ് Portugal. Isn't it? Then last year, racial discrimination found towards the people of colonies was enforced in every field. വർഗവിവേചനം വർഗവിവേചനം നമുക്ക് racial discrimination നമുക്ക് എവിടെ ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിൽ കാണാം. യൂറോപ്യൻസിന്റെ അനദർ മോഡൽ ഓഫ് എക്സ്പ്ലോയിറ്റേഷൻ ആണ് racial discrimination. They cleaned their traditional culture. They cleaned the traditional culture of the Latin America. The Europeans, the Latin America, really very rich country, very rich continent. Gold and silver mines are located there. Very rich country. Then. That is why Spain and Portugal, Europeans established the colonies in the Latin America. Then the Europeans, the aim of the colonization was that to loot the resources and the wealth of the Latin America. But Latin America resources maximum കൊള്ളയടിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് എന്ത് യൂറോപ്യൻസിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ എയിം ആയിരുന്നു. അത് നമുക്ക് ഈ പോയറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. മച്ചു പിച്ചു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആ സിറ്റിയിലെ ആ പെറുവിലുള്ള ആ വൺ ഓഫ് ദ one center. Machu Picchu is the one place name in the Peru. In that place, then we can understand that how much the Europeans exploited the Latin America. How much the Europeans exploited the Latin American എത്രമാത്രം exploit ചെയ്തു എന്ന് നമുക്ക് ഈ പോയറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് തന്നെ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. Really, the Machu Picchu was the very wealthy region, and then the cultivated the maize, too much maize is there. The people are engaged in the riot, the sheep, and acquired wealth through trade. അത്രയും wealthy ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു region ആയിരുന്നു ഇത് ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിലെ പെറുവിലെ മച്ചു പിച്ചു. Understand? That is the then the background of the Latin American Revolution, and then we conclude then that topic is finished now. Latin American Revolution, that topic is finished. Okay, then I hope that you all are understood that topic, Latin American Revolution. Very simple topic. At the time of study Latin America, you have to remember that two point. One is the which country established the colonies in Latin America, Spain and Portugal, and how was the style of exploiting the resources of the Latin America? How was the style of the exploitation? How did they exploit it? Then their exploiting is the another type. They implemented everything is their own style. അതാണ് ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിലെ സ്പെയിനിന്റെയും പോർച്ചുഗീസിന്റെയും പ്രത്യേകത. എല്ലാം അവരുടെ പോലെ തന്നെ ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിലേക്ക് അത് നടപ്പാക്കി. അങ്ങനെ നടപ്പാക്കിയപ്പോൾ ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിലെ ആളുകൾക്ക് എന്തിനു പറ്റിയില്ല, അവരുടെ ട്രഡീഷൻ, erase their traditional culture. Spain and Portugal erase their traditional culture, clean their traditional culture. ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയുടെ ട്രഡീഷണൽ കൾച്ചർ തന്നെ തുടച്ച് മാറ്റപ്പെട്ടു. സ്പെയിനും പോർച്ചുഗലും വന്ന് അവരുടെ രീതികൾ ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്കയിൽ നടപ്പിലാക്കിയപ്പോൾ they cleaned the traditional culture of Latin America. That is why the people started the fight against the colonial system. Then who was the leader? Simon Bolivar, Jose de San Martin, and Francisco Miranda. Isn't it? Simon Bolivar is known as the then the George Washington of South America. Then Jose de San Martin is known as the liberator, protector in the Latin America. And it's very easy topic. The topic is completed, and from this lesson we completed the 3 revolutions. Okay, thank you.